What's up, guys? I'm about to read an article by Market Watch written by Langlios, published on May 17th, regarding Mark Cuban says families should get $1,000 in stimulus checks every 2 weeks with one big catch. Talk about a clickbait title. There's Mark Cuban. Billionaire Mark Cuban says it's time for the government to push quote unquote trickle up economics to save small businesses because the Paycheck Protection Program isn't cutting it. The only thing that will save businesses is consumer demand, he wrote in a series of tweets Sunday. No amount of loans to businesses will save them or jobs if their customers aren't buying, quote unquote. To do that, he explained, we have to have a transitional jobs program that trains and hires millions of people for a federal tracking, tracing, testing program, along with support for at-risk populations. We need to dent unemployment with stable jobs. He added that while that plan is being implemented, an interim spending stimulus package should be put in place in which 128 million households get a $1,000 check every 2 weeks for the next 2 months, along with the rule that it must be spent within 10 days. Basically, forcing people to spend these stimulus checks. No saving them to pay your, I guess you could probably spend them paying your rent. I'm not sure about that, but no just saving them for a rainy day. No putting it into the stock market. No building up your emergency fund. Literally forcing you to stimulate the economy with your stimulus check. Quote unquote cost would be about 500 billion, but it would allow for demand for non-essential products and services to increase, hopefully keeping most businesses alive as we learn that the impact of reopening is on the spread as we learn what the impact of reopening is on the spread and whether or not employment grows organically, he wrote. And then they go on to show his Twitter posts via screenshots. So, Mark Cuban's Twitter posts. It's time to face the fact that PPP didn't work. Great plan, difficult execution. No one's fault. The only thing that will save business is consumer demand. No amount of loans to businesses will save them or jobs if the customers aren't buying. It's time to trickle up economics. We need a transitional Fed jobs program that trains and hires millions for a federal tracking, tracing, testing program, as well as support for at risk populations, including long term care. We need to dent unemployment with stable jobs. In addition, because this will take time, we need to consider an interim spending stimulus package. All 128 million households could get a $1,000 check every 2 weeks for the next 2 months that must be spent within 10 days of receipts or it expires. This quote unquote use it or lose it program will cost about 500 billion, but it will allow for demand for non-essential products and services to increase, hopefully keeping most businesses alive. As we learn what the impact of reopening is on the spread and whether or not unemployment grows organically. There is certainly a lot of risk in this use in this use it or lose it approach. A lot to be considered, but it could be patterned after the US Draft Express. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, this is just the latest in a series of ideas Cuban has been suggesting in recent weeks as the government continues to navigate the coronavirus pandemic. We have to get to that point where the White House standard becomes the national standard. I think in order for consumers to feel safe going out, in order for employers to feel completely safe bringing back people to work, he said of measures to be taken before reopening the economy. Cuban's name has been mentioned as a potential presidential candidate in the 2020 election, and the Dallas Mavericks owner hasn't exactly poured cold water on the notion. What is that talking? We are in the 2020 election. That might be like an old quote. I never would have considered it prior to a month ago, but now things are rapidly changing dramatically. I'm not saying no, but it's not something I'm actively pursuing, he said. I'm just keeping the door open. You just don't know what can happen between now and November. Huh. Okay. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Basically, he wants to give $1,000 every 2 weeks to every single household. So I guess it's per household no matter how big your household is. So if you're a single 21-year-old, you'd get the same check as a family of five. Seems a little bit weird, but doesn't go too far into detail. But that's what it would be, and that would just be a 2-month period until they create more jobs via a multi-million dollar amount or a multi-million population of people working for the federal government tracking, tracing, and testing throughout this pandemic. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, I think everyone's down for free money. And a little speculation on this Mark Cuban presidential run.